When we think of Hitler in the war, people generally think of Hitler at the Eagle's Nest, Eva Braun's home movies, or they think of him perhaps in the bunker in Berlin. But in reality, he spent over 800 days at the Wolf's Lair. It was by far the most used of all his headquarters.
Scientists have discovered a hidden Nazi bunker, which, for decades, had been left untouched. What's even more interesting is that while archaeologists cannot say for certain that the buildings were designed to be used in the event of a defeat for Nazi Germany, there is strong evidence to suggest that was the case. But when they stepped inside, what they saw left them pale with shock. What was buried within those walls? Could this change what we know about history? Join us as we uncover the secrets of this mysterious bunker and the shocking truth inside. The Argentinian bunker. Deep in the thick, nearly impassable jungles of Argentina, a discovery has emerged that challenges what we thought we knew about the Nazis' escape plans. A hidden bunker was discovered which was carefully constructed and expertly concealed, suggesting it was more than just a place to hide. Could this have been part of a larger strategy, a backup plan in case Hitler's Reich fell? For years, it has been well known that hundreds of Nazi officials fled to South America after the war. But this bunker, found in the remote Parque Teyucuar Nature Reserve, shows a level of planning few had imagined. If the war had ended differently for them, could these secret hideouts have become the headquarters for a Nazi resurgence? Well, the evidence uncovered by archaeologists speaks for itself, and it seems that's the case. But here's what's even more fascinating. Led by Daniel Chevelzon of the University of Buenos Aires, the team found Nazi symbols, including the unmistakable swastika, etched into the walls. Scattered around were German coins dating from 1938 to 1944, along with porcelain distinctly stamped "Made in Germany." These were not mere coincidences. They were artifacts that suggested that they were made intentionally. The bunker itself consisted of 3 buildings, one for storage, another for housing, and a third serving as a lookout. And its location, just minutes from the Paraguayan border, could also not have been an accident. This is because, with multiple escape routes and natural barriers, it was a fortress of seclusion, a place where high-ranking Nazis could disappear without a trace. Yet, despite its careful construction, the bunker was never used. Why? Ironically, the very country it was built to hide in became a welcoming home instead. This means that Argentina did not just tolerate Nazi refugees, it harbored them. War criminals who had orchestrated some of history's darkest atrocities found safety, blending into society rather than retreating into the jungle. While a few, like Adolf Eichmann, were eventually hunted down and executed, most Nazi fugitives lived out their days untouched. The secret bunkers, once part of a sinister backup plan, became relics of a strategy that was never needed. But the real question remains: were there more? And if so, what else is hidden beneath the jungles of South America, waiting to be uncovered? To answer the former question of whether there are more, yes, there are more, and this next one has a chilling detail. Keep watching to find out. The Normandy bunker. Just like the Argentinian bunker, for over 7 decades, the remnants of a hidden Nazi stronghold lay buried beneath the soil of Normandy, untouched and unseen. But now, researchers have unearthed massive bunkers that were once important in Germany's defense against US forces during the D-Day landings. Now let's look at what stories and artifacts these long-forgotten fortifications hold. Josh Gates, host of Expedition Unknown, described the discovery as stepping into a time capsule. He stated that they discovered huge Nazi bunkers that haven't seen the light of day in 75 years. These were not just small outposts, but sprawling underground structures, each containing multiple rooms, hallways, and staircases. Part of the notorious Mazy Battery Complex, the site once housed 14 massive guns, including 150mm howitzers, that targeted American troops storming Omaha and Utah beaches. Using cutting-edge LiDAR technology,
delivering cutting-edge aerial intelligence with industry-leading drone technology, From large-scale drone surveying to high-resolution LiDAR mapping,
which penetrates dense vegetation and reveals hidden structures, experts located the buried bunkers and exposed their concealed entrances. Inside, the past was eerily preserved, with artifacts still scattered in the darkness and burn marks on the ceilings, which could possibly be scars from the fierce battle to take the site. Now, open to the public, the Mazy Battery continues to reveal its secrets. Once a top-secret German defense position, it played a critical role in the battle for Normandy. Interestingly, the Nazis deliberately kept its construction hidden while diverting attention to the nearby, more famous Pointe du Hoc. But why? Was it a strategic deception, meant to mislead Allied forces? With every new discovery, historians inch closer to answering these lingering questions. And as the bunkers emerge from their long burial, they show the brutal, decisive moments that impacted the course of World War II. But that's not all. The Austrian bunker. Under the countryside of Austria, near the town of St. an der Gusen, researchers have found a large underground Nazi weapons factory. It is believed to be one of the most secret projects of the Third Reich. Austrian filmmaker Andreas Sulzer led the discovery and called it probably the biggest secret weapons factory of the Third Reich. The hidden factory covers 75 acres and is close to the B-8 Bergkristall factory, where the Nazis built the world's first jet-powered fighter plane, the Messerschmitt Me-262, during the last years of World War II. Clues about this secret site were found in the diary of an Austrian physicist who worked for the Nazis. Sulzer's team used special radar to find the buried entrance. The Nazis had covered it with layers of earth and granite to hide it, but the team carefully removed them to uncover the underground complex. Declassified intelligence reports and witness accounts suggest that this secret factory may have been part of Nazi Germany's efforts to build powerful weapons. Some studies have found higher than normal radiation levels around St. Georgen, supporting the idea that Nazi scientists carried out nuclear experiments under the control of the SS. However, local officials stopped the excavation for a while, asking for more permits before work could continue. Despite this, Sulzer and his team are determined to keep going and uncover the full story behind the facility. Historian Rainer Karlsch, who is working with Sulzer, has explained that the SS wanted to combine advanced missile technology with nuclear or chemical warheads. Like the Bergkristall factory, this facility relied on forced labor from the Mauthausen-Gusen concentration camp, where up to 320,000 prisoners died due to terrible conditions. Many of these workers were scientists and experts from across Europe, forced to help with Nazi Germany's most dangerous projects. Sulzer stressed that finding out the truth about this place is not just about history, but also about remembering and honoring the many victims who suffered there. One unanswered question about the site is what happened to SS General Hans Kammler, who was in charge of the project and reported directly to SS Chief Heinrich Himmler. Some believe that instead of dying during Germany's defeat, Kammler may have been secretly taken to the US through Operation Paperclip, a program that brought Nazi scientists to America for Cold War research. Sulzer, with some support from the German state TV network ZDF, is determined to find the truth, not just about the weapons built beneath Austria, but also about the fate of the men who created them. But the discovery of bunkers doesn't stop with this one, and this next one is equally fascinating: the bunker at Roman Fort. Recent excavations have revealed a Nazi bunker hidden within the ruins of the nunnery, a Roman fort that has stood at Longus Bay for 1,700 years. This discovery connects two very different time periods at a single site that has been in use since the 4th century, one of Roman military precision and the other of German wartime defense. Archaeologist Jason Monahan and volunteers from Dig Alderney have been carefully uncovering these layers, revealing a mix of structures, drains, and walls from different eras. Their latest find, which is a 3-layered flooring system, has made it challenging to determine which period each part belongs to. The nunnery's thick Roman walls, originally built for defense, later became useful to the Nazis when they occupied the Channel Islands from 1940 to 1945. Within these ancient walls, German troops built a bunker, turning a Roman fort into a stronghold once again. This site carries the weight of history, showing how one empire built it for conquest, while another used it for survival, and both left their mark on this small but powerful fortress. Yet the nunnery has seen more than just war. In the medieval era, it served as the governor of Alderney's residence, its walls repaired and repurposed. By the late 18th century, the British Army demolished Tudor-era buildings, replacing them with barracks. The 20th century saw the site transformed again, first into housing for military families, then into a Nazi stronghold. Even today, archaeologists are uncovering structures whose origins remain uncertain, like a Victorian-era square building and a mysterious ruin marked on an old 1739 map. What was this place truly meant to be? A fort, a home, a prison? Perhaps all three at different points in time, shifting to meet the demands of each era. So, how many stories can one place hold? The Dig Alderney team continues to unearth answers. One bunker, one drain, one stone at a time. Even as they map out the remnants of Nazi occupation, they're exploring untouched areas like the sunroom, hoping to shed light on what happened here after the Romans departed. And then there's the chilling presence of history just beyond the fort. Sylt, one of Alderney's 2 Nazi concentration camps, a site long forgotten, but recently brought back into focus. The past isn't just buried here. It lingers, waiting to be uncovered, challenging every assumption about what we think we know. Similarly, this next one also challenges such assumptions. The bunker at Hamburg. For 80 years, a massive concrete bunker has stood over Hamburg. Interestingly, this wartime structure has now been transformed into a luxury destination. The St. Pauli bunker, originally built under Hitler's rule using forced labor, has been converted into a hotel where guests can stay for 180 euros per night inside its thick walls. Standing 58 meters tall, higher than the Leaning Tower of Pisa, the bunker has taken on a new life. 5 floors of a hard rock hotel now fill its brutalist structure, and a rooftop bar shaped like a pyramid offers breathtaking views of the city. Below, a garden cascades down its walls, covering the once harsh exterior with lush greenery. Meanwhile, deep in the Thuringian forest, history is not so easily erased because hidden beneath the trees, archaeologists have uncovered secret bunkers, underground chambers from World War II that have remained untouched since the fall of the Third Reich. Inside, everything is frozen in time. Dusty floors are littered with old communication equipment, rusting weapons, and stacks of classified documents that have outlived the regime they once served. But that's not even the most unsettling find. The most unsettling find? Encrypted maps marked strategic locations across Europe, their faded ink hinting at missions that were either abandoned or successfully kept secret. One bunker from that era has been turned into a hotel. Others remain buried, their stories still waiting to be uncovered. In Hamburg, people now sip cocktails in a fortress once built for war. In the forest, researchers sift through relics of the past, uncovering pieces of history that refuse to disappear. Now we can see that while one story is about reinvention, the other is about rediscovery, and both prove that history is never truly left behind. Do you think more bunkers are waiting to be discovered? What more secrets do you think will be found within their walls? Let us know in the comments section. We hope you enjoyed watching this video. Remember to like, share it, and subscribe for more. Also, click the next video showing on your screen. You will enjoy it. This incredible discovery challenges our previous understanding of the Cretaceous, which was already known as the warmest period in the past 140 million years. But that's not all. Analysis of ancient ice cores from Antarctica has also provided valuable insights into the continent's dramatic climate shifts over geological timescales. These ice cores have shown that over the past several 100,000 years, temperatures in Antarctica have fluctuated by more than 10 degrees Celsius, correlating with the glacial and interglacial periods seen in the northern hemisphere.
The ice core's layers are like tree rings, each layer representing a year of weather and snow.
We can tell what the temperatures were. We can tell how rough the oceans were around Antarctica.
This dramatic shift in Antarctica's climate and the recent rise in carbon dioxide highlights the scary possibility that the Antarctic ice sheets would melt more rapidly than normal. Antarctica Pyramid. The appearance of mysterious, pyramid-like structures in various parts of the world has long fueled speculation about the presence of extraterrestrial life on our planet. And the recent discovery of a peculiar, pyramid-shaped mass in the Ellsworth mountain range of Antarctica has only added fuel to the fire. A satellite that was directed to the southern part to provide an aerial view of that part of the continent revealed many strange formations, but amongst all, one that stood out was a structure of perfect pyramid symmetry with an astounding 2 kilometer square at its base.
In 2016, satellite images revealed a curious formation emerging from the ice that some researchers believe could be a man-made pyramid.
Which is almost like the iconic Great Pyramid of Giza in Egypt. Given the extreme isolation and inhospitable conditions of Antarctica, where human presence is extremely limited, the presence of these mysterious structures on the frozen landscape immediately set the internet ablaze with speculation and theories. And before you knew it, some enthusiasts suggested that the pyramid could be the remnant of an ancient civilization that thrived in the region long before 1,000 years ago, while another group claimed it was the handiwork of extraterrestrial visitors that were drawn to the continent for some unknown reasons. However, geologists and experts found these speculations to be very outlandish. So to debunk these speculations, a certain geologist at the German Research Center for Geosciences in Potsdam, Dr. Mitch Darcy, said that the so-called pyramids are actually natural formations known as nunataks, which are peaks of exposed rock protruding above the surrounding glaciers and ice sheets. Though his explanation did make sense, there's still a possibility that the structure is really a pyramid, and that his response is a deliberate cover-up effort to divert attention from whatever is happening in and around it, just like the government did with the Black Pyramid in Alaska. What do you think? Antarctica tunnels. Still, on the topic of the possibility that the icy landscape of Antarctica is or used to be home to some extraterrestrials, another piece of evidence has come forth with the discovery of strangely well-constructed tunnels. In another survey, researchers from UK universities and the British Antarctic Survey Centre decided to take a closer look at the Filchner-Ronne ice shelf in West Antarctica. They had this super high-tech plane loaded with all kinds of advanced sensors and equipment, and they were just flying around, mapping out the land, ice, and even the sea underneath. But when they started scanning below the ice with their radar, they were shocked to discover massive arched tunnels stretching an unbelievable 820 feet high.
So a new discovery in Antarctica. Researchers find new life under an ice shelf, and the discovery was an accident.
Which is high enough to comfortably house the Eiffel Tower with room to spare. Needless to say, the researchers were absolutely amazed when they saw these tunnels on their scans. At first, they tried to come up with a natural explanation that maybe the tunnels were carved out by flowing meltwater, slowly eroding the ice over time, which does make sense since the water could be concentrated in certain areas instead of spreading out evenly. But some people were still not satisfied with this explanation. The more they looked at these tunnels, the more their size and carefully sculpted structures looked man-made, and soon they started to wonder that perhaps, just like the perceived pyramid, they were created by ancient, or even advanced, civilization that once thrived in the icy region. Which of the parties has your support? If you're still indecisive about where to pitch your tent, the next discovery will give you that confirmation you need. Underground Cathedral. In addition to the perfectly carved caves that scientists found in Antarctica, scientists also found an ice city that was completely hidden in the ice. During one of their routine mapping of the area, they noticed a strange groove in the ice, hinting that there might be a river flowing underneath. Intrigued, they decided to take a closer look using high-tech radar equipment, only to find, to their utmost astonishment, the most beautiful, massive, cathedral-like cavern, which they believed was carved out by a subglacial river.
The under-ice landscape is full of colors, full of light, full of life. It's like you step into a forest. It's very diverse and it's beautiful.
Curious to know what this 10-kilometer-long cathedral, which was almost as tall as the Empire State Building, held within it, they lowered a camera down into the cavern. And boy, were they wowed. Not only was this structure gigantic, but the interior was made up of icy walls that were carefully sculpted into these beautiful, undulating patterns, almost like the intricate stone carvings you'd find in a real cathedral. It was like stepping into a frozen underground palace, hidden away from the world above. But that wasn't even the most surprising part. When they went deeper, their camera spotted some strange and wonderful creatures swimming in the dark waters below. Among them were the anemones that were clinging to the icy ceiling. Normally, anemones live on the seafloor, but these ones had adapted to life under the ice, forming this upside-down garden. And swimming alongside them were bizarre, shrimp-like crustaceans and even some fish. And that was how a whole secret world was found, just thriving in this hidden, frozen cavern. Scientists, on one hand, couldn't stop asking how these creatures adapted to survive in this extreme, lightless environment, completely cut off from the outside world. The world's loneliest ATM. Speaking of artificial structures, another of the most fascinating and unique discoveries of the frozen continent of Antarctica is the world's loneliest ATM, nestled in the heart of McMurdo Station.
The Wells Fargo ATM at McMurdo Station is the most southern one in the world. And it's the loneliest ATM in the world as well, as there isn't another one for hundreds and hundreds of miles.
McMurdo Station is a remote scientific research hub and the largest of its kind on the entire continent, and depending on the time of year, its population can range anywhere from 250 to over 1,000 people. This particular ATM is not your average cash machine. It is one of two operated by Wells Fargo at the McMurdo Station, with the other serving as a spare parts source. Interestingly, the officials at Wells Fargo are taking no chances with this remote and crucial piece of infrastructure. To make sure the ATM performs at its best, the machines undergo a complete checkup and software update every 2 years. The staff are thoroughly trained to handle simple repairs and maintenance tasks, ensuring the ATM remains operational even in the harshest conditions. And there's another full-size ATM just in case they need to swap out any faulty parts. Security-wise, the company is also extremely tight-lipped about how much cash is actually stored in the machine at any given time. The only thing that is publicly known is that there is a security camera installed within the ATM unit itself. The most surprising thing about this ATM is that even though the McMurdo Station is situated relatively close to territory claimed by New Zealand, the ATM only dispenses US dollars. This is because there is no official currency used throughout the continent of Antarctica. The landmass itself does not have its own national dollar or any other type of native Antarctic currency. Because of that, an organization called the Antarctica Overseas Exchange Office started to produce special collectible banknotes that are meant to represent Antarctica, and they can be purchased and sold at their face value as long as they are still valid. So residents who need to exchange their withdrawn US dollars are left with no choice than to trek 2 miles to the nearby Scott Base Research Station, where they can exchange it for these fancy notes. Green icebergs. Another incredible drone-assisted discovery in Antarctica are the mesmerizing green icebergs.
Green icebergs have been turning up in Antarctica, and scientists just figured out this green ice was coming from beneath the ice shelves, the floating ice shelves.
These natural wonders are like nothing you've ever seen before, with a captivating emerald hue that's far more vivid and striking than the typical blue and white icebergs we're all familiar with. Now, for the longest time, these green icebergs have been a real head-scratcher for researchers. When the first explorers and sailors stumbled upon them back in the early 20th century, they were completely puzzled by this unusual coloration. At first, the leading theory was that the green color came from dissolved organic matter, like dead marine plants and animals, trapped in the ice. The idea was that this organic material would appear yellow, and when combined with the natural blue of the ice, it would create a green effect. But further research showed that the green ice didn't actually have any unusually high levels of these organic impurities, so that theory just didn't hold up. This sent the scientists back to the drawing board, determined to uncover the real secret behind the iceberg's captivating color. After years of research, scientists were finally able to crack the case. What they found was that as glaciers flow over the rocky terrain of Antarctica, they grind up iron-bearing minerals into a fine powder that gets incorporated into the marine ice at the base of the ice shelves. When this iron-rich ice breaks off and becomes an iceberg, the iron oxide particles scatter the light in a way that gives the ice its striking green appearance. The snow cruiser. In an exploration of the icy landscapes of Antarctica, a group of scientists stumbled on the legendary Antarctic snow cruiser, under 23 feet of snow. The snow cruiser was a massive, 55-foot-long and 20-ton experimental vehicle that was developed for Admiral Richard E. Byrd's 1939 to 1941 Antarctic expedition.
This is the Antarctic snow cruiser, designed to push through the harshest conditions on the planet. And it'll end up as one of history's greatest engineering legends.
Admiral Richard E. Byrd was a pioneering American explorer who played a major role in the exploration of Antarctica. He was the first person to fly over both the North and South Poles, a remarkable achievement that launched his Antarctic adventures. And he didn't even stop there. To further seal his place as an unrivaled explorer, he further led several major expeditions to the frozen continent in the following decades. All his expeditions only made sense when the U.S. had staked claims to various regions of the continent, and it was only his detailed surveys and aerial surveys that provided the evidence needed to bolster these claims. Now, back to the 1939 to 1941 expedition. In their earlier expeditions, Byrd and his crews had struggled to effectively traverse the vast, frozen landscapes of Antarctica using traditional vehicles and equipment. The extreme cold, deep snow, and treacherous ice made long-range exploration and supply missions extremely difficult. After Byrd's second Antarctic expedition in the early 1930s, it became clear that a new, specialized vehicle was needed to overcome these challenges, and that was how the snow cruiser was born. The snow cruiser was an engineering marvel that was powered by a 200-horsepower diesel engine with a top speed of 30 mph on smooth ice. It was like a part-tracked vehicle, part bus, and part mobile research station, with features like living quarters, a small kitchen, a workshop, storage for supplies, and even an aircraft hangar. The idea was for it to be a self-sufficient unit that could travel long distances, house a crew, and conduct scientific research. However, despite its ambitious design, the snow cruiser encountered numerous problems during its initial test runs in Antarctica. The massive size and weight of the vehicle made it difficult to maneuver and control on the ice. The tires repeatedly got stuck in the soft snow, and the complex systems on board frequently malfunctioned in the extreme cold. After just a few weeks, the snow cruiser was essentially abandoned, and the crew ended up using it as a stationary living quarters instead. And when the expedition ended, the snow cruiser was left behind in Antarctica, only to be rediscovered recently. The Endurance. In 2022, a group led by the Falklands Maritime Heritage Trust set out to locate the wreckage of Shackleton's ship, the Endurance, exactly 100 years after Shackleton's funeral. This iconic vessel had sunk in the Weddell Sea all the way back in 1915.
She hasn't been seen in over 100 years. This is the Endurance, resting nearly 10,000 feet down in the dark, freezing waters at the bottom of Antarctica's Weddell Sea.
And many people had given up hope of ever finding it again. But these explorers were determined to uncover this piece of history. Frankly, the expedition wasn't an easy one, as the researchers had to battle through constantly shifting sea ice, raging snowstorms, and freezing temperatures as low as 18 degrees Celsius. That's about 0.4 degrees Celsius. But luckily, they were able to take advantage of some unusually low sea ice levels to reach the area where they believed the Endurance had gone down. After the hard work and challenges they faced, with the help of an automated water vehicle, which was equipped with high-resolution cameras, the explorers finally spotted the Endurance buried almost 10,000 feet below the surface. What are your thoughts about the Dyatlov Pass incident? Let us know in the comments section below. Do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Click on the next video displayed on your screen. You will enjoy it.